What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the G Show. In today's show, we're going to talk about how the migrants are refusing to leave a hotel in Hell's Kitchen. So I read 2 articles on this. I'm going to go through the article, basically a summary of the article with some slight commentary in there. I'm also going to give some details from someone that lives at the new shelter and lived at the hotel. He actually is the one that provided the picture showing the inside of the hotel, the inside of the new shelter. He has some interesting things to say. I think it definitely provides some commentary there, and then I'll give my overall opinions at the end. So, getting into the article, migrants who are all adult single males are refusing to leave the Watson Hotel in Hell's Kitchen to leave for a new shelter at the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal. Cops had to come to the hotel around 10 p.m. as more than 50 migrants, along with activists, were standing outside. The activists were there assisting with food, water, and translations. A small number of migrants did get on the bus and went to the new shelter, as activists argued the migrants were being forced out of the hotel. Now, apparently some migrants were moved to the new shelter earlier this weekend, but they decided to come back to the Watson Hotel, in which some made makeshift tents outside of the hotel, which I will provide pictures of how that looks. Now, the first article made mention of the new shelter at the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal being a tent shelter, but the actual pictures, it's not a tent shelter. It's cots all lined up, which also will be pictures of that here also. Eventually, the migrants dispersed and no arrests were made. Apparently, more than a dozen cops were originally stationed there, but they scaled back the number of cops, and that was still there around midnight, as there were still migrants outside of the hotel because they have their makeshift tents and basically sleeping outside the hotel. The reason the migrants don't want to go to the new shelter is because they feel it is not livable. They allege there's no on-site showers and lack of heat. However, in the second article I read, according to the person that took the pictures, there is heat and showers. He said it was cold, but it was some heats, and the showers were based outside in mobile trailers. He also said they received 3 meals a day, and the migrants were quite happy with the food, which I bet you they were. I mean, free food is always nice, especially considering how high the price of food is these days. Okay, back to the article. A representative for Mayor Adams said the city began shutting down the city began shutting single adult males from the Watson Hotel. Basically, they're sending the single adult males from the Watson Hotel to the Brooklyn Cruise Center so they can transition the Watson Hotel to house migrant families. They said they remain in serious need of support from both the state and federal governments. And Mayor Adams announced last week that the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal will be the new mega shelter for as many as 1,000 single men. From reading 2 articles, basically, these migrants are definitely entitled. They definitely have a sense of entitlement. It's interesting that they complain the new shelter is not livable, and making tents outside of the hotel, taking up the sidewalk, and brushing their teeth on the street. You complain about not hearing about no heat, being at the new facility, because they won't get on a bus to go actually see for themselves, but yet they'll make a tent outside. I mean, being inside of a building is better than being outside. Their philosophy is making no sense. I'm guessing they're basically protesting to try to get back inside the hotel, but it's not going to happen. And then you can see in some of the pictures, they clearly have been living good, and some of them have on $100 brands, like the one guy with the Supreme bag. Supreme is not cheap. I've never had a Supreme bag. Not that means anything, but I'm just saying Supreme is it's a costly brand. So you can see the pictures. They look nice and new. Clothes look nice and new. Looks like everything's been going pretty good for them. So, according to the guy that provided the pics from the inside, some information he provided I thought was kind of interesting, because it kind of gives some context to basically showing how entitled these single male migrants are. So, he was originally from Ecuador. He came in through El Paso. He spent 3 days in detention before he got a plane ticket to New York from a local church. He slept on the street in New York for 2 nights, and then a Catholic church took him in and arranged for his stay at the Watson Hotel, where he was able to have a nice hotel suite for 2 months before the change. Wow. Must be nice. He's living a dream. Imagine you come from a whole different country. You don't have a plan where you're going to stay, any of that. You got to spend 3 days in detention, spend 2 nights. You spend a 5 night, and then you just get a nice hotel for 2 months. And then all of a sudden, they're telling you got to leave. And you get bused to the terminal. So he said the hotel had so many services, and now all that's just been taken away. He said at the hotel he was provided a 2-trip Metro card every day, and now it's just a ferry fare. He also complained about the isolation of the terminal versus the Hell's Kitchen area. He makes mention, now I'm not from New York, but apparently, think of a port terminal, it's just basically water. And then the Hell's Kitchen area is apparently, more stuff is in the city, Manhattan area, I believe, or close around there, something like that. He makes mention of no privacy and beds not being comfortable. And then here was a very interesting quote he made. He said, quote, "They don't give us any information to help us apply for asylum. We need more benefits until we get asylum and a stable job." End quote. More benefits. He wants more benefits. All I can say is wow to that. So this is just a case of major entitlement by these single males because they got spoiled by being in a luxury hotel, which in my opinion the city should have never put them in the first place. They get over here, they get used to this nice hotel. I think someone said get nice to I had a refrigerator, a 50-inch TV, a desk, and now you're sending them to a place where they have cots. However, at the end of the day, all this is being provided to free for them. Now, I would say sleeping on a cot in a building where you get 3 meals a day with access to showers in a trailer is by far better than sleeping on the street outside of a hotel. So I don't know why those migrants are choosing to do that. In the second order, it did make mention about how some of them might have some cash jobs that they found in Manhattan and they don't want to stay so far away from Manhattan. However, if they got some jobs, they should be able to, get a car, Metro card, or whatever means to get to the job. It's still better sleeping in the car, getting 3 free meals per day and access to showers than sleeping on the street. Another thing that the person said about in the new location, he said there's no phone for migrants to call home, and the entertainment is limited to 2 ping pong tables, 5 TVs, and a few PlayStations that belong to other asylum seekers. The mention of the PlayStations was kind of interesting to me because it's where did y'all get some PlayStations from? Did y'all just come when y'all made y'all trip? Did y'all bring the PlayStation with y'all? Or I guess when you start making some money, did you go buy a PlayStation? Because if it's a new PlayStation, that's fairly expensive. That's money I would have saved versus a PlayStation. I just thought the PlayStation, mention the PlayStation was very interesting. But anyway, basically, these are some ungrateful single male migrants. They're just ungrateful. They believe they're entitled to essentially a private room with their own private shower, and they haven't paid for anything. I think that's crazy. The entitlement is just insane. As a citizen, I have to pay for every damn thing. Yet, these single male migrants believe they should be given a nice hotel room to stay in. Insane. Just insane. Also, one of the articles made mention of the NYPD representative saying that the migrants' move to the Brooklyn facility has to be voluntary. I thought that was interesting because at the end of the day, they crossed over into the country illegally. Yet, for them to move to a new, for the city to make them move to a new shelter, it has to be voluntary. Yet, That's interesting to me. It's kind of crazy because it's like you can just come over here, do something illegally, and then I have to voluntarily ask you, hey, I need you to move to this new facility. Like, it's crazy. It's kind of insane. It's kind of insane because at a minimum, I feel like that's something the city should be able to do. Like, if we want to choose, as you're still illegal right now, we're still processing. If I say you need to move to this new facility, it shouldn't be an issue. Like, in my opinion, the activists should not be encouraging these migrants to, like, not follow rules. I know if I went to a new country in which I don't totally know the ways or the language, I would never think to do something that would cause the police to be called. Like, I would never think to be part of a disruption. I would want to go with the flow as much as possible. I want to blend in as much as possible. So it's just amazing how illegal people can come over, get all these benefits, house for free, free food, metro cards apparently, like whatever they need. Yet our homeless population is out of control. Out of control. And, they're not doing anything about the large number of migrants coming over here in droves. And in this case, it's single males trying to cause an issue, and that is an issue in itself. So it's clearly putting a strain on New York, but the government is not doing anything to stop it. The Democrats have allowed this, and they believe in the future these people will turn into Democratic voters. It's my belief, but oftentimes migrants don't end up voting Democrat, they vote Republican, at least the Latinos. So, like, I don't know, that doesn't make sense for them, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And it's amazing that the migrants know how to get here. They know what to say about their rights. And, they're getting well taken care of with tax dollars that they're not paying into. Yet we have so many homeless people and veterans that can't get basic assistance at times when they need it. And then in addition to that, we got regular Americans that's just making it with inflation and price gouging going on. But we got migrants being this entitled. When they have basically got everything, when they have got everything for free. They're just mad because they was introduced into a luxury hotel, and now, because basically you got to get shelter situated. You got to get that, fixed up and everything. And now that's been fixed up, and they're actually going there, and now they don't want to go. So they're spoiled. But I'm not understanding, like, you come to a new country, you coming over here, you trying to make it, you want to work. How are you going to be spoiled? You have nothing. You have to be grateful that you have somewhere to lay your head, inside of a building you can lay your head. That you have somewhere to wash up. That you are getting food. 3 meals a day. I just don't understand. It's wild to me. It's totally insane. And I believe the Biden administration needs to do something about this. Like, at this point, they cannot keep letting this many migrants come in at the expense of citizens. Like I said, the young male migrants, they must be living good compared to how they were living in their country, because they don't have to pay for anything. So I don't understand how they have the nerve to be entitled. I say, if they don't like the conditions of the facilities at the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal, allow them to get on a bus and let that bus return them back to the border. I feel like at this point, examples need to be made. It's very simple. Considering they're being housed and getting everything for free, including food, transportation, they need to follow the rules or be deported. Very simple. Very, very simple. Let me know your thoughts.